Donald Trump just wrapped up a disastrous cabinet meeting in Camp David as the United States is abandoning its military bases in the Middle East. U.S. forces and equipment abandoning bases in Jordan, in Kuwait, in Iraq, in Al Udeid, in Qatar. We can see the movements on these satellite images. But Donald Trump, during this disastrous cabinet meeting, is continuing to pretend that the U.S. interceptors are striking down all of the Iranian ballistic missiles and Shahed drones when Iran responds and strikes the U.S. bases. Donald Trump's like, in Jordan, we did a bing, 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 and then a bing, and then a bing. And like everybody in the room's laughing. There's nothing to be laughing about. In the past 2 weeks, we had 3 service members die at that air base in Jordan. It's the Muwaffiq Salty Air Base. And then over the past few days, it was hit again. And we can see in these satellite images that it was struck and the U.S. interceptors, by and large, were not working. Here's what Donald Trump said at this disastrous cabinet meeting in Camp David. Let's play it.
The other day, you read that 5 missiles were shot. They were going 8,600 miles an hour. Think of it, 8,600. Now a car, if you go 60, it gets to be a little faster. If you go 100, 8,600 miles an hour. And they were big missiles. And they were shot at Jordan. And our guys were there. Bing, 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 bing. 5. Bing, 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 bing. Right? I don't want to be biting. 666. I had to be very careful. That would have been a great sound bite. Right? There were 5 missiles, and we shot all 5 down before they got close.
And again, we have the satellite imagery from the Iranian strikes. I mean, this was from the past week. You can see the Muwaffiq Salty Air Base being struck. It appeared an F-35, or at least an F-35 hangar was struck. You can take a look at just the timeline over here of that base in Jordan, July 2nd, July 9th, July 17th, July 30th. I mean, Iran has struck that base multiple times as the U.S. was bringing in new equipment there, and now the U.S. is just moving out. I mean, you can look at the U.S. bases in Kuwait that were destroyed. You can see that in Qatar. The U.S. has abandoned Al Udeid. They're abandoning the base in Erbil right now. We can look at the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain as well. It's not a joking matter. Bing, 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 bing. We're talking about U.S. service members who were killed. Going back to this cabinet meeting, though, right now, Donald Trump says, I'm losing faith in Iran because they lie and they misrepresent. I think you're talking about yourself. You lie and you misrepresent. Here, let's play this clip.
That you can reach a deal with Iran, given that you talked about how disloyal they are.
I'm losing faith in them because they do lie. And they do misrepresent. Well, the other day, the 5 missiles were shot.
And then Donald Trump was asked about his strategy. Of course, there isn't any. And Trump's like, look, we just want to win. We're just going to hit them hard. We're going to win. We may be nice. We're being nice, but we're going to win. And then we're going to destroy them and obliterate them. So we're kind of nice and we're going to win. Anyway, here, play this clip.
For the next 4 weeks, 8 weeks, we'll be hitting them. We'll be hitting them very hard. And at some point, they're going to say, we just can't take it anymore.
And then Donald Trump says, but I want to give Iran credit. Most people would have given up now. They haven't. So I give them credit. Here, play this clip.
Well, you never know. Look, I mean, most people would have given up by now. They've got no Navy, they got no Air Force. Most people would have given up. They haven't. So I give them credit for that. I mean, they're known as being tough. They're tough.
Then Donald Trump continues to lie and say all the Iranian radar is gone. Their leadership is gone. They have nothing. They have nothing, he says. Here, let's play this clip.
Cause their defeat too, and you'll probably hear from them too. Yeah.
Mr. President, back on Iran, there's a report that you got a proposal from the military to go big and hit them hard over 10 or 14 days.
Well, we're going big.
Are you going to consider?
We've already gone big. Look, I mean, what's big? They had 159 ships. That was their entire Navy, 159. Their entire Navy is laying at the bottom of the sea. I'd say that's going big. They had 200 airplanes. They're all gone. Every one of them. They're not one airplane. They had anti-aircraft weaponry, very good, but it didn't work. And it's all gone. Their radar is all gone. Their leaders are all gone. Everything's all gone. But they'll fight on with it.
Mr. President, on your
And a reporter asks him and says, so should the American people at this point just expect that this is going to be the future? That the future of the United States is kind of this never-ending posture where you will strike them whenever you decide you want to strike them. They will strike back at our bases, and this just goes on forever. And Trump's like, yeah, sure, I think so. It would be foolish to say that's not going to happen. I think that's what we're going to happen. He goes, look, we have the strongest, the best negotiators that there are. We've got Witkoff. We've got Kushner. We've got JD. They're strong and powerful negotiators. And so we've got them. And the reporter's like, yeah, but Iran's saying they're not talking to any of the, first off, these people are weak and pathetic losers. But the reporter's also like, Iran says they're not talking to them. And Donald Trump's like, look, I don't like the way they negotiate. They're bad people, okay? I don't like the way they negotiate. Here, watch for yourself.
President, you said they do have some capabilities left. Should Americans be prepared for these back and forth attacks to continue until Iran simply isn't able of striking back?
They'll get weaker. They'll get a little stronger, maybe not, but they'll get weaker. And then they peter out. Yeah, sure, I think so. I mean, it would be foolish to say no. You always have to keep your guard up.
And Donald Trump says, look, everybody, this is the golden age. We've achieved it. The golden age is here. I call this a military operation. We have a war. We're in a golden age. It's not a war, actually. It's a military operation. Here, play this clip.
Ever seen before. Nobody's ever seen. This is the golden age of America. And we have a war that's going on. I guess you call it a war. Maybe I call it a military operation. They have no Navy. It's been obliterated.
And then Trump's like, but look, let's talk about me for a moment here. I am the most abused person in our country's history. Literally a sexual predator, an abuser, right? An abuser in so many ways. By the way, abusing the nation, causing further abuse to the Epstein survivors by covering up the child sex trafficking ring. He has the audacity to sit there. He's made $4-5 billion last year doing all these quid pro quo deals with Arab nations, enriching himself from the White House. Unprecedented in American history, the criminality. And he goes, I'm so abused. This is what he's saying. I think I'm so abused. Here, play this clip.
I probably was abused more than anybody in the history of our country, but I wasn't looking for that. But there were a lot of people.
And then Donald Trump continues to say how abused he is. He's like, and they attacked Mar-a-Lago. They attacked my home. I deserve big damages. I'm not going to ask for it, but I deserve big damages. Here, play this clip.
Now, I was abused. They attacked my house, Mar-a-Lago, where I live. And I was, big damages should have been given to me. I don't want anything. I'm not talking about myself.
What do you mean you're not going to ask for it? You did. You entered into a settlement agreement with the government where you had the government waive the right to investigate you for tax evasion, tax fraud, and to waive any audits of you in the future for anything you've done in the past regarding your taxes. So with that $4 to $5 billion you've grifted from the White House, and grifting is a nice word based on what you did, by the way. If you don't pay taxes on that, technically, you're not going to be investigated. You've given yourself that. That could be valued at billions and billions of dollars. So then a reporter asks Donald Trump about what we talked about this morning on our videos, that Donald Trump, who previously promised Zelensky that he would be giving Patriot interceptor licenses to Ukraine. Ukraine so desperately needs these Patriot interceptors heading into the winter, or it could be devastation. Trump at the NATO conference in Turkey, he said it. I showed you the clip this morning. He said, we're going to give you the licenses, Zelensky, so you don't complain that we're not giving you the interceptors, because Trump promised, the U.S. promised previously interceptors, at least to Europe to buy, to give to Zelensky. So Trump said, don't worry, we'll give you the license. And then this past week, Zelensky was in the White House. He met with Lockheed Martin. And Zelensky said, I was told we were getting the license. He doesn't want to give the interceptors. Give us the license from Lockheed so we can make it in Ukraine. And then Donald Trump's like, yeah, we have the greatest weapons in the world. The Tomahawks, for example, are able to shoot into people's windows. Yeah, we know you killed little girls in Manab. You killed 168 girls in Manab, you war criminal. And then Trump's like, but you know, some of our technology is just so super secret, like those NVIDIA chips. We don't just give those out. You did. You gave it to the UAE, who's probably going to give it to China, by the way. And you've offered certain NVIDIA chips to China as well when those were classified. And here he's using that as grounds for not giving Ukraine the Patriot Interceptor license that he promised. It's why you can never say Donald Trump said. His words are meaningless. He's a fraud. He's a crook. He's a sexual predator. He is the most disgusting, vile thing in history. Here, play this clip.
Where they were going very nicely, it would have been over. But no, I gave them the javelins. The javelins are unbelievably. We have the greatest weapons in the world. We have to be very careful about giving out the secrets to those weapons. And they're not, you can't copy them. It's a little like NVIDIA. They have a chip. They say you cannot copy it. The complexity is so great you cannot. You know, most things you copy. China's known for it. Other countries, we do something, and I guess we copy also. But most things you can copy pretty easily. There's a chip that they made, their ultimate chip, and they always have the ultimate chip. And I say, well, why doesn't somebody copy it? Because they can't. The complexity. They can't copy our weapons. We have the greatest weapons in the world. Many of them. Those are just 2 or 3 that I mentioned, but you cannot copy them, so we have to be very careful.
And then he goes on to talk about how, he goes, we have not agreed to give them the Patriot interest. We have not made that agreement because what if they turn on us? That happens in history. They can turn on. What if they, first off, you're psychotic. Second off, you did promise. We all saw it in NATO. You did make the promise. And before that, you said you were going to sell it to Europe, which you refused to do. Now, part of that is the U.S. is out of interceptor missiles because we depleted our stockpile, which is actually true, despite he wants to deny, despite if he and the regime want to deny it. But also, they just don't want to give it to Zelensky because Trump wants Putin to win. This whole thing about bringing Putin in and bringing Zelensky in rather and pretending, we may be helpful. It was just a manipulation strategy by Trump. It's part of his psychological torture that he does on people. He makes you think I'm going to do it. Then he rug pulls you. That's who he is. He's a rug puller, fraud, con artist. And that's what he's doing with American foreign policy. Here, play this clip right here.
These weapons are incredible. We have to be very careful about letting somebody build them. It's very important now. We are building many plants now to make those and other. The Tomahawk missile is the most incredible thing. You can go into a doorway. You can put it through a window of a house. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. You have to be very judicious, but you have to be very careful. Now, we have not agreed to that. We're talking about it, but it's a hard thing to give away that kind of technology. And I don't think this would ever happen, but those people that you give that technology, they can someday turn on you. That is possible. You look at war, it's happened a couple of times over the years, right? So we have to be very careful. I mean, we guard that. We have the greatest military in the world, but we have the greatest weapons in the world. Now we have to make them a little bit faster because we've given a lot away.
So then some of the other people at this cabinet meeting spoke. You had Hegseth. We're going to keep doing the flyovers. We're going to keep doing flyovers to boost morale. He does like the karate chop hands. These are freaking losers. These are just loser human beings. We're going to do flyovers. Okay, you think that's badass to do flyovers 10 feet over beaches with little kids? Could like kill the kids. You could burst their eardrums, get sand in their eyes. You could hurt them. Do you think that makes you look tough? It makes you look pathetic and a loser that you have to do that. We know we have good weapons. We know that the F-35s and the B-2s and our weapons are strong. What makes us strong isn't flying them over beaches with little kids popping their eardrums. What makes us strong is our predictability, our reliability, our alliances, that our words matter. Play this clip.
The warrior ethos of our department, again, spirit. And I will know the flyovers will indeed continue until morale. But that's also spirit. parades, 250, flyovers, the American people seeing and feeling their military in ways they have not in the past. That's spirit.
And then Hegseth goes, but Donald, it should be noted that you had the courage to do this war. Epic fury, courageous, epic, furious, courageous. I mean, these freaking bootlickers are just disgusting. Here, play this clip.
The core of what keep us safe. But in order to do that, you have to have a leader that's willing to put them in a position to do it. And that's my takeaway, Mr. President, is sort of 3 points. One, it takes courage. 2, it takes restoring a spirit, which you have done. And 3rd, it takes investment, and not just an investment, but a generational investment. And I think people miss that.
And then you had Treasury Secretary Besant, and he was like, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton, they could never have predicted how good you would be, what a golden age you would bring to this country. Here, let's play this clip.
It's an honor to be here in this historic place as we celebrate our nation's 250th anniversary. And I think if we look back to our founders was President Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton could not have imagined the economy that we would have created. It is the envy of the world. And as you said, we have record investment coming in. We've never seen anything like it. And we're pulling away from the rest of the world.
So pathetic. So utterly pathetic. I will share this with you as well. While that was going on, CENTCOM did another fact check. CENTCOM claim, once again, the Iranian government claims it has closed the Strait of Hormuz. This is false, says U.S. CENTCOM. Fact. The Strait of Hormuz remains open for commercial vessel transit. Iran does not control it. Thousands of ships have sailed through the international waterway. Really? This morning, Iran struck 2 tankers. 4 turned around that tried to use the southern route of the Strait of Hormuz by Oman. A Qatari liquefied natural gas tanker tried to use the IRGC route in a deal that was brokered by Pakistan. Why? Because the southern route is not safe. Everybody knows it's not safe. And then the U.S. blockade stopped the Qatari LNG tanker from getting out of the Persian Gulf. Go figure. And again, it's just so pathetic that this is how CENTCOM is behaving and that's the cabinet of the United States of America. This is so utterly humiliating to be an American right now with this. It is. It's utterly, objectively humiliating. No wonder Donald Trump's approval is the worst in modern presidential history. Thanks everybody for watching. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers.
Before you go, our book, WTF America, is available for pre-order now. It's the story of how we got here and how we fight our way back. To pre-order, scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Let's do this.